Yeah, I guess we could start something funny today, right? So I'm all at Lowe's and I get all this stuff ready to buy. Next thing you know, my wallet's in my car. Wasn't meant to be, so I ended up not going back. But long story short, hey, today's Thursday night football. The Bucks and the Ravens, 10-10 right now. I do love football. I do watch football, but let's focus on this plant. This is a monstera peru, and I can't remember what Costa Farm is trying to sell it as right now. I think they're trying to sell it as Galaxy. It's the same plant. They're selling it for $50, half of this plant, so maybe twice, 3 times this size for $50. But the monstera peru has price has dropped drastically, only because there are so many other plants that are similar available, and I think this plant is plus it's not only Costa Farm, but I forget the other farm name that's just pushing them out like crazy. I mean, I usually don't like to mention store names, but let's just keep it that way. Your big box stores are getting them now, like it's being flooded like crazy. So let's just say that. First impression of this plant, yeah, I didn't care for it. And then I saw a big lush one that was at a nursery. I was like, it's pretty cool. At that time, cutting of this was probably about $20, and I would have paid $20 at that time. We're talking 3 years ago. Today, this thing's $5. This one, 10, 15 bucks. If you're buying locally from another plant person, that's the price. This here you won't find at a big box store, because big box stores will not, they all standard, they propagate this year, hopefully they're sellable next year. So they get about this size, and then they put like 5 of these together. So, but they're not gonna get this big. This is a 2-year-old plant. So if I've had it for 2 years, well, 3 years, well, 2 years, 2 years. I've had this 2 years. I first saw it 3 years ago. I didn't care for it, and then when I did care for it, I got it last year. When I bought this, it was probably half of this size. It stayed dormant for the longest. I just didn't know what I was doing. I left it alone. Next thing you know, it just grew like crazy, and I think it's because I added fertilizer to it. I didn't repot it. I kept it in the same pot as soil, left it, put it in my frog tank, and then it just thrived from there. And I managed to cut, I believe, a 12 leaf that was similar to this, but 12 leaf. So I paid $40 for this to begin with, this guy, and I managed to propagate this one, another one, and then this. And I've sold the one that's a little bit bigger for $25. So I've now in for $15 minus my time and effort and care, whatnot. Who cares about that stuff, because you don't really count that stuff. But I can actually make my return on this plant easily, because today's price easily 10, 15 bucks. Something of this nature is easily 5, 10 bucks. But I'm actually gonna keep this guy. I'm actually gonna moss pull this one, give it a train, because it's a baby and it's got decent roots. So I am gonna moss pole this one. This one's pretty nice too, believe it or not, because they're both single stem, and I've managed to root it pretty well. You can see the root. Well, I guess you could see the root on that side, but nonetheless, it's pretty crazy. My first impression was whatever. And then I started falling in love into this plant, the longer I was in the house plant. This is good for frog tanks. I'm sorry that I'm referring to my videos. In my videos, I will reference frog tanks. And frog tanks, I mean by dead poison dart frogs. Terrariums, guys that love their dark frogs. I mean, I do too. Someday, I will have a wall of dark frogs. I forget the guy's YouTube influencer, Troy. Troy's a great guy, and then there's a Northern Frogger. Those guys are super awesome. I think Troy is more vast in that he keeps more plants than Northern guy. Anyways, long story short, this is monstera peru. It's very versatile too. There are folks that are very into the anthurium luxurian, and this plant can kind of not replace, but for the time being, until you save up and buy that luxurian plant, this for 15 bucks, you can enjoy this until you can afford the anthurium luxurian. This is the leaves feel the same. They don't grow the same, only because this guy grows viney, and I'm surprised. They really like this environment that I've kept them in. I was afraid that it was getting too cold, but they actually are thriving here. So I have a lot of calcium, a lot of dust. These are all calcium buildup. And I do have a lot of dust because my place is wide open. But this is your monstera peru. I do enjoy this plant. I didn't at first, but now that I have it and I'm growing it, I'm probably gonna keep it for good. I will propagate to sell quite a bit. I don't propagate single leaves. I generally propagate like a couple nodes, whatnot. And this guy's already doing really well, that it's got growth points already. Right there. Steady growth points. And I remember, yeah, see, this one's already got a growth point too. Stop moving. Right there. Growth points. So this thing's doing super healthy. Terracotta pot. Nothing special. But I've, monstera peru. I'm going to try to moss pull one of these. Keep it really nice and enjoy this one. And so I do, this is pretty cool. I like this. I'm running out of things to say, to be honest. Monstera peru, pretty cool plant. It's readily available these days. Also known as Galaxy. I think Costa Farm is selling them as Galaxy. They're starting to drop pretty price really low. So you can really get these, and I wouldn't pay more than $10 for something like this. Do not pay more than $10. Surprisingly, they love humidity. Lack of what I have here. But they do love humidity. That's the one thing that I was not able to provide for them, and they didn't thrive. But once I got them into my frog tank, this thing just took off like crazy. So yeah, do not. And I guess the roots like to be on the wetter side, believe it or not. I don't know why. Yours might be different though, but mine, they like to stay wetter. They like to stay drain well, and so see, that's the thing. This one drains super well. This one not so well, so I may have to change the soil on this one. This one drains super well, hence why it's probably growing better. Yeah, so yeah, no, okay. So getting back, they like to be drained really well. I really got to repot this guy, which is what I'm gonna probably moss pull this guy then. But nonetheless, though, they like humidity, well drainage, pot soil. I don't know what else to say. Well, thanks for watching, because I am really running out of things to say about Monstera, Peru. Thanks.